everyone, Anita here from the Honey House. Thank you for joining me on this video, and if you are watching this, it's because you were somebody's honey bun this Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day, let's get started. Now, if you got this Valentine's Day package, then you know already what comes in it, which is a honey bun mix, of course our pure honey that we have at the Honey House, and some little chocolates, because who doesn't love chocolate? Today, we're gonna be doing the honey bun tutorial for you. I'm gonna show you how to do it step by step, what you need, little tips and tricks that you can do when you're making it yourself. So let's go. On the card, you got on the back a recipe card that tells you exactly what you need for completing this recipe, which is a 1/4 cup of milk, you need 1 egg, you need 2.5 tablespoons of oil, and 3 tablespoons of softened butter. We got our Honey House pure honey, and then you should have received your package. Now we have 4 different bags here in this recipe. You got your dry ingredient mix, you have your icing mix for the very end, the yeast that I provided for you, as well as the filling mixture. All the bags do have the ingredients listed on them, as well as the amount that you need to recreate this recipe on your own. You have to get this box to know how much it is on each one. So I'll be posting the recipe after Valentine's Day so you can still make these delicious honey buns, because once you see how they come out, you're gonna wanna try it. I asked you to provide 1 cup of milk, and what you're gonna do is take 3/4 cups of the milk first, heat it up on top of the stove, no more than 105 degrees so you don't burn it, and then you're gonna take your yeast packet and you're gonna sprinkle the yeast on top of the milk to let it sit for 10 minutes. Now we wait for 10 minutes. Okay, 10 minutes is up. So, take your mixing bowl. We're gonna pour in the yeast and milk mixture into the mixing bowl. You have your 2 tablespoons of oil. The 1/2 tablespoon is going to be in the oiled bowl that I will explain shortly. So oil in, 1 egg in, and then you're going to take your dry ingredient mix and pour the whole contents in there as well. You're going to add a 1/4 cup of the pure honey. Honey has a good smell to it. That is about 2 big tablespoons of the honey. So this will be about 1/2 of this baby jar, and you will of course have some left over for your own personal use. So now you take the bowl, we'll put it in for our stand mixer. Down, lock, on, and let it go for about 5 minutes. Now that your dough is formed after about 5 minutes, you will see that it comes together in the bowl, and knead it for about 2 minutes just to get it into a ball form. And then you're gonna wait 45 minutes to an hour to let it rise. And what I do is create a warm environment for it by heating up my oven to the lowest setting that I have, which is 150. And I do that before I even start the whole process of putting the honey bun together. And once I start the process, then I turn it off so it has time to cool. By the time I get to this stage, to the rising stage, it is nice and warm and ready for my dough to sit in, so it has the warm environment to rise in. Ready to go like this, knead it into a ball, cover it. Your heated up oven, ready to go. Dough in. And I like to keep the door just cracked open, so in case it's still too hot from when it heated up, that it has the ability to escape the heat and you don't bake the dough. So now 45 minutes to about an hour, and our dough should double in size. Okay, it has now been about 45 minutes. Let's see how our dough is doing. Ta-da! We have a risen dough ball in its holiness, everybody. So now we are ready to move on to the next step, which is to roll out the dough. Let's do it. Next step on on your instruction sheet is to roll the dough out on a clean surface, by the way, into a large rectangle. So let's work on that. And you want it to be as even as possible. It's gonna take a little time to stretch this dough out, so please hold. The longer out you make it, the more rolls you will have in your finished bun. So I guess you could really do that up to you, how much you want. But I like a lot of rolls for the aesthetic of it. So I try to make it as long as possible. I'll even pull the corner out, try to pull the corner out a little bit, because I want some corners here so that I have an even amount. That looks pretty good. Nice long rectangle, sort of. And we can continue with the filling. So you should have 3 tablespoons of softened butter, which I have been letting sit at room temperature, and now it is nice and soft. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the back of a spoon, very easy to spread with, and spread it all around my dough. Now that we have the butter completely rolled out on the dough, you're gonna take your filling mix that comes in the box, and we're going to sprinkle this all around too. You can smell the fresh cinnamon that comes in this. All right, that's pretty much covered. Maybe spread it out a little bit with your fingers. Now, here's an extra step that's not in the recipe card, but what you can do is take your little dipper that comes with the honey, dip it in. There we go, and gently just start sprinkling some, if it wants to go, on top of the filling mix, and you'll get very small flavor notes of the honey. All right. Now, you want to roll this from the shorter end of the dough to create a log. So I will start by slowly rolling this. Now we have our log. Turn it this way so we can cut our pieces. You can even try to pinch the ends a little bit so that the dough kind of stays together, because it will fall apart if you don't pinch it. When it's baking, it expands. All right, and I have a baking pan in front of me with some foil and a little bit of pan spray on it, all ready to go. I'm gonna take our knife and make a few cuts here right down the middle, then that in half. Maybe do this on your cutting board so you don't get yelled for scratching your mother's countertop. Okay, now we got our 8 even pieces. And look at that swirly goodness. Woo! Looking good. So now we pinch again a little bit because they do fall apart. We're gonna start evenly placing them on our sheet. And then one tip is to kind of squish these down and press them down, because you want them to bake outwards, not upwards. So you want to kind of shape it and help it get its shape this way. All right, ladies and gents, we are almost ready to pop these suckers in the oven. Now you can preheat your oven to 350. You're gonna set these aside for another 10 to 15 minutes to sit. They're gonna proof a little bit more, and then we'll be ready to put them in the oven and bake them. Our oven is heated to 350 degrees. Our buns have sat for 10 to 15 minutes. Let's give them a nice good press one more time before they go in. Pinch those ends if they're coming apart, that's okay. It'll still taste delicious. In the oven we go. 350 for 10 to 12 minutes, but please watch them so they don't burn. but watch them to make sure they're fully cooked, and we'll see them in 10 minutes. I think we are ready to take them out. Ooh, looking nice and brown. See how big they expanded out? And now we let these cool for 15 minutes. And while you're cooling, we're going to make the icing for it. So get yourself a bowl, a whisk. You could do this with a handheld mixer, but it's not that much, so I like to just do it by hand. So you're going to take your icing mix that comes with your package. We're going to throw it into the bowl, and then you take your remainder amount of milk, which is now a 1/4 cup, and you pour it in. And we're going to whisk it until the milk and the sugar start formulating our icing. All right, we have our icing mixed together. Of course, our honey buns are still cooling, but we can talk about the consistency for a second. I personally like the icing a little bit more runny. If you want it a little more thick, almost like a cream cheese type of consistency, you can add less milk and do it a little bit at a time to get the consistency you want. Or if you want it more creamier, of course, add more milk. And then, once our honey buns are cooled, we'll be able to ice these babies up. All right, our honey buns are cooled. I transferred them onto a little cooling sheet. And I did transfer my icing back into my measuring cup because I like the little spout that comes on it. It makes it easier to go around and ice it. You have a lot more control this way. So let's ice these babies up. After you're done icing, place the honey buns on whatever platter you'd like to serve them on, and then the best part, enjoy them. Thank you guys for joining me on this tutorial. I hope this helped you out. If you have any questions, you can always contact us. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Honey House AB. Thank you guys, happy Valentine's Day, and see you again, Honey Bun.